Hello and welcome to the next lecture. Before you watch this video, I suggest you to go through the links below to see what the Panache is, how to use it with Hibernate, so you just look at the previous lectures, because in this lecture we're just gonna touch a little bit of the how to use Panache with Mongo. So yeah, as I said just a few seconds ago, this lecture will tell you a little bit about MongoDB and Panache. So let's copy over my saved command. So nothing new. Quarkus Backend plugin create, check the now Mongo clean Panache, and class name will be book resource. We'll do the same thing that we've done in the previous lecture, just we're gonna use it with the Panache. So the only difference is that in previous lecture we created the MongoDB client. In this case we use a MongoDB Panache extension. So let's create a project, and yeah, so you can see that we have two more extensions, and let's open the project in Chaban. So I want to say that you need to have Mongo up and running. If you don't have it, just use a Docker if you have one. In this case, just sure that Docker is working, it's running. Otherwise, you can install it on a Mac or whatever you have locally, but I suggest you to use Docker and know how to use it. It's a lot simpler and easier afterwards, after you know how to use it. So yeah, so we open up a project in Chaban, so if you want to know how to specify the connection string, I suggest you to look at the previous video. So in this case, we'll only thing that we're gonna do is we'll specify database. So in our case, Quarkus MongoDB database will be books. This will help to know the Panache or the MongoDB which database to use for your project, for your entities. And so yeah, so let's create what we've done previously with the book. So let's create a data book itself, right, like this. So here we're gonna firstly we can put Mongo entity like this. So you have here the collection and database. For now that we have this property called Quarkus MongoDB database equals books, we don't need to specify any of those there. But if you want to specify to make a specific name of the collection, so we can put a collection equals books, right? This like this. So as we created in the previous lecture. So we had the books. So yeah, so let's start our Panache entity. So you need to also specify that you extend the Panache Mongo entity in our case, right? So you can already know that you have here Panache Mongo entity base as with the Hibernate entity base or Panache entity base, and we have here an object ID. And this one will be used as ID itself. So you don't need to specify ID from the start. And yeah, so we can create a public, as the Panache suggests us to use public string title, public, let's actually create a books too, so that we have different collection. And then public integer pages, I think it was, right? And we don't need any of this, but yeah, so this will be an example of the book. We can create an empty constructor, I think, and we can also create the static methods, for example, as in Hibernate Panache videos. So you can create a public static book, find by whatever you want, right? So the Panache entity itself will have a lot of methods that you can use. For example, find by ID, find by the optional. Just watch your previous video on how to use it. So let's start. We don't need actually this part as well. So let's go to the book resource, sorry, and let's convert our hello method into the list of book, right, like this. And let me give me import class. So yeah, so now we have this thing. So we need to have a method. Sorry, I removed it. Get books, for example, right? And here, what you can do is you can call book, and yeah, you can actually use a list all, for example, right? And this will bring us back the books itself. And let's actually move it back to here, so we can have an application JSON. The producers will be at the top of the resource, so you don't repeat yourself. And let's create a post, public book, add book, like this. So you can create a actually book here, book, and so you can call book persist, for example, or update. As you know, in Mongo you have this option, persist or update, and yeah, so, and you can return the book itself back. So yeah, so that's you can see that's already simplified as hell for all the methods. So you don't need to like create a document, put some fields. So this is already prepared. So yeah, if you have a remote MongoDB, you can put a connection string here with the Quarkus MongoDB connection string. So like this, connection string. You can watch previous video how to do it. So now I think we're actually ready for running our app. So let's go to the terminal and let's go to this Mongo client Panache. And let's call maven nv Quarkus dev. It will start up our our Quarkus server, and yeah, it started. Updated Quarkus to 1.3, and let's go to the Postman again, and let's query books. You'll see it's empty, of course, because we have books too instead of the books collection. So let's post one book. So we have title pages. Let's see if it will work. And you can see that the entity itself here, so we return the book that we received, but you can see that it's already pre-updated the ID field for us, so you know the ID itself. And you can again call a get, and you can see that we have in array one value, and we can create a few more books if needed, of course, but yeah, so you can see that we have 3 books there. So again, you can create repositories as well, so you can create a book repository. Everything that applies for the Hibernate, Panache video applies here. You can do a page, and can a lot of all the stuff that you want here. So I just don't want to spend your time on repeating everything again, right? One more thing that I haven't mentioned is that if you want to rename it, you can put a bson property like this, and here you can specify a value, for example, I don't know, pages 2 or something like this, so you have a different name for the pages, right, or amount or something like this, if you need it to be stored in database differently, of course. And again, if you need to have a custom ID, of course you can apply a base here, and you will have basically entity without the ID, and then you just put it. And then for ID, you can specify a bson ID as well, so you can get a title as a ID, for example, right? So so yeah, that's it. Nothing additional that I can. So now you know how to use MongoDB with Panache, which is a lot simpler and easier to use, and I hope you like it. Comparing to the previous video, it's a lot easier. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.